have camera 4. Hey, here you go.
This is an ABC News special report. Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
Good afternoon. We are coming on the air now with major news from the Department of Justice. The acting Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, has decided to appoint a special counsel to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 election, any ties with the Trump campaign, and they call it related matters. This is a big news from the Department of Justice. I want to read you the statement coming now from the acting Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who, of course, is serving as acting Attorney General because the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, has recused himself from all matters related to Russia. Here is what the acting Attorney General said. In my capacity as acting Attorney General, I determined that it is in the public interest for me to exercise my authority and appoint a special counsel to assume responsibility for this matter. My decision is not a finding that crimes have been committed or that any prosecution is warranted. I have made no such determination. What I have determined is that based upon the unique circumstances, the public interest requires me to place this investigation under the authority of a person who exercises a degree of independence from the normal chain of command. A special counsel is necessary in order for the American people to have full confidence in the outcome. Our nation is grounded on the rule of law, and the public must be assured that government officials administer the law fairly. The special counsel will be Robert Mueller, who was the director of the FBI from 2001 to 2013, more than 10 years, former U.S. Attorney, Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division, as well respected throughout Washington as a straight shooter from both parties. I want to go straight to our senior justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas. And Pierre, this was something that the Justice Department, that even Mr. Rosenstein had resisted. What was the tipping point over into this decision?
Well, we're still reporting this out, George, but there were two key things that happened. Last week, former FBI Director James Comey was fired, and there were these questions about Rod Rosenstein's role in that firing. At first, we heard that it was perhaps at his urging. Then we heard that it was actually at President Trump's urging that Comey be fired. So his independence had somewhat been tainted by that. Then this blockbuster yesterday of the fact that Director Comey was saying that there are memos that suggested that President Trump had tried to influence the investigation into Michael Flynn, suggesting that it go away. That blockbuster came out. So here you had the acting Attorney General, in this case, Rod Rosenstein, wanting to make a decision that will allow the public to have confidence that one way or the other, this would be resolved in a way that's independent from the Justice Department.
Our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, at the White House right now. Cecilia, when did the White House know? What do they know right now?
Well, a pretty extraordinary 30-minute heads up, George. That is all this White House got on this move. And I have also been in touch with sources on Capitol Hill who you would think would have seen this coming. There is complete shock right now in both sides of Washington to the reaction here at the White House down to Capitol Hill. George, this is a White House in complete crisis mode right now. We are talking about a third bombshell 3 days in a row. Right now, the scene that I have seen every night so far this week inside this West Wing, reporters camped outside of Sean Spicer's office waiting for answers to yet another explosive storyline. We don't have a response yet from the White House. We do know, as I said, that they know that this has happened, that this special counselor has been appointed. And we know that this White House has been opposed to that they have been on the record. The president himself said an independent commission is not needed. The White House has said that this would be a waste of resources. This is a White House that cannot stick to their agenda right now because they're too busy trying to put out crisis after crisis after crisis, George.
And the big question right now, is this something the president was convinced they really had no choice, that this had to happen, and that they're willing now to cooperate with the special counsel? I know you're going to continue to report. While you do that, I want to bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, right here, right now. So let's talk about exactly what Robert Mueller is going to do right now.
So he's got 60 days to basically put together a budget and a team. He's going to hire his own team of people. Doesn't mean he's going to use the current Justice Department. He's going to have his own folks who are going to do this investigation. These typically can take, let's say, 6 to even 9 months to reach a resolution. But remember, once he reaches a resolution, he hands it over to the Attorney General. Yes, his investigation is independent. He is supposed to do everything without the input of the Attorney General in this case. But once he's finished, he hands that report to the Attorney General, and then the Attorney General has to decide what to do. And in this case, it'll be Rod Rosenstein, the acting Attorney General, because there's been that recusal of Jeff Sessions. And if there is a decision not to act on the special counsel's recommendation, Well, then there's some explaining to do to Congress that has to happen. But we're a lot of steps away from there at this point. But this is really a stunning development, because you and I talked about this on Good Morning America. I didn't think there would be a special prosecutor as of a week ago, a special counsel.
And for the most part, even Republicans were holding the line in the House and the Senate. That started to crack today.
It cracked as a result of yesterday. Let's be clear. It was this new report about James Comey's notes that I think forced the hand of Rod Rosenstein, where he said, I have to figure out a way to avoid a showdown between the FBI and the President of the United States. And the way to do that, at least to minimize it, is get a well-respected, well-regarded special counsel like Robert Mueller.
So when this investigation is done, the acting attorney general can accept the recommendation, he can reject the recommendation. As you point out, he can also fire.
Right, but if he rejects the recommendation, again, that would be a real political crisis. It is expected that when someone like Robert Mueller issues a report, that the Attorney General, and in this case the Acting Attorney General, will act on it.
One of the big questions right now is how this is going to affect the various congressional investigations. We have the Senate and House Intelligence Committees looking at this. We have the government oversight committees actually inviting James Comey, the former FBI director, to come up and testify, give them their notes. Will he do that now or turn everything over to the special counsel?
Well, that's the big question, because Wednesday we're supposed to have this big hearing, which was, sort of being billed as this enormous showdown where James Comey was going to disclose everything. Now we're going to have to see if any of this changes that. Because remember, Congress can still, of course, continue its own investigation in addition to an independent counsel investigation. But I think this does help at least take things down a notch. At least people who are looking for cover can say, let's let the special counsel deal with this. So we'll have to see what impact it has on Wednesday's hearing.
And we're getting the first reactions from Capitol Hill right now. Jason Chaffetz, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, is welcoming this. Reporting from Capitol Hill from our own sources saying this was news to the Senate Judiciary Committee. We'll find out more about that as we go on. I want to bring in Cokie Roberts as well. Big news here, Cokie Roberts. One of the most stunning things here is the timing, just 118 days into the Trump presidency.
It is remarkable timing. And looking back at the Nixon situation, where, of course, President Nixon won an overwhelming landslide as the Watergate story was unfolding. But then in January, when his approval ratings were almost 70%, some of his aides were convicted of conspiracy in the Watergate break-in. Two of his top aides then in April were forced to resign. And then in May, it took until May for a special prosecutor to be named. And it was the same day, by the way, that the Watergate committee convened. So it all happened at the same time, the congressional hearings, the special prosecutor. And keep in mind, that special prosecutor can be issuing indictments all along. And that becomes a story, too. It's not, we don't have to wait for that report. So, you know, as we both well know, George, a special prosecutor, a special counsel in this case gets named, it can go anywhere.
Cokie Roberts, thanks very much. So there you have it, another blockbuster this evening. Robert Mueller, the former director of the FBI, has been appointed by the acting attorney general to be the special counsel looking in to Russia's interference in the 2016 election, any possible ties with the Trump campaign, and related matters. That's the wording of the appointment right there. Again, he will have full independence now to look into this matter, something that had been resisted by the White House and Republicans on Capitol Hill. It is happening now. We're going to have much more tonight on World News Tonight with David Muir, and I'll see you tomorrow on GMA.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
The outfits.
And why'd you come here today?
I came here because I really like My Little Pony, and I was excited to see what costumes people were wearing.
I've never seen so many people in costumes. It's wow.
In all, more than 3,000 people attended this convention over the weekend. Most walked away satisfied customers.
You coming back next year?
I want to.
Will I come back next year? Well, that's a horse of a different color. John Prentice, Seattle Refined.
If My Little Pony floats your boat, the mother of all Brony conventions, BronyCon, is set for this August in Baltimore. You can find more info at bronycon.org.
Good morning! Woo!
Seattle Refined is just getting started.
He's the hardest working person I know.
A community gives back to a firefighter who goes beyond the call of duty. But first,
can you feel it in the back of your throat?
Not yet.
It's coming.
There it is.
Yeah.
if you love cider, we found a local farmer who turns out the drink with a twist. Seattle Refined will be right back.
If you're
Welcome back to the show. I'm Gard Swanson. Raspberry season is just a few weeks away. And did you know that Washington State produces 90% of all the red raspberries in the U.S.? Washington Grown's Christy Goranson visited a local cider farm in Puyallup using raspberries to make one of the hottest drinks on the market.
I'm here with Rich Cockrell, and we're at the Cockrell Cider Farms. You have several acres of fruit that you use for your cider.
We do. We have 7 acres of English bittersweet apples, and we have red raspberries, blackberries. We make 2 different raspberry flavored ciders, and we think Puyallup Valley raspberries are the best around.
So for every 4 that you pick, I'll eat 5.
That's good. We eat quite a few ourselves, yeah.
So you pick the berries.
Mm-hmm.
Then what do you do to actually get the berries ready to make cider?
Well, what we do is after we pick our berries, we juice our berries. We're going to have you start on this.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to put some fresh raspberries in here.
So I'm going to mash.
You're going to mash, a big potato masher. We're going to pour those right into our just regular apple press we use. And you can see all that good juice coming down.
Whoa, look at that.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
I didn't realize this much went into making cider. Starting to break out into a sweat. This is tough. With the raspberry juice pressed and ready to go, it's time to bring it over to where the cider is made. So this is the cider house.
This is the cider house.
I love it.
Yeah, great.
And so this just is going to be stored.
Well, no, what we'll do is we can either store this, and we can freeze our juice right now and use it at a later date, or we can add it to our cider if the cider's ready for a secondary fermentation, and we can put it right in and start making cider. This is where we make our cider, our hard apple cider. We start with apple juice, and we do the proper nutrients that it needs, proper chemistry that it needs, and then we pitch our yeast to it, and you can hear the bubbles.
Yeah, I
going
can.
crazy.
Yeah.
These are our 6 basic flavors that we have all the time, our standard flavors. One of them is our Valley Red Raspberry Cider. Our other raspberry cider is called the Devil Cider, and it's a raspberry habanero cider.
Really?
Yes. How about a taste?
So I get to taste?
Let's get some.
I would love to.
All right.
I would love to. Rich has been dying to give me a taste of his famous raspberry habanero cider. Cheers. Woo!
Can you feel it in the back of your throat?
Not yet.
It's coming.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Warms you
That's
right up.
good.
Yeah.
Tune in every Wednesday for more stories from our partners at Washington Grown.
This is the only trigger you will need to worry about.
Coming up, the future of gaming. Refine takes you into the void. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Refined. I'm Gard Swanson. Well, these days, with everything going on in the world, sometimes we need a friendly reminder that when it comes down to it, most people are generally good and kind and willing to help others. That's why Seattle Refined followed our sponsor, Delta Dental of Washington and the Tooth Fairy, as they surprised a local smile maker known for his good deeds and his amazing grin.
He's the hardest working person I know, and he gives everything of himself, and he does it selflessly, and he does it, he never expects anything in return. So.
Dean McCauley is a firefighter with Valley Regional Fire Authority in Pacific. He spends countless hours a year giving back, whether it's supporting the Tunnel to Towers project in New York City every year, raising money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association and the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, or donating his time to the local Humane Society.
Dean's kind of the infectious individual in the organization as far as inspiring people to go above and beyond in their community, to give selflessly and go out of the way to help those that are in need.
Because of his generous heart, Dean was nominated and named a Smile Maker in Delta Dental of Washington's Smile Power campaign.
Smile Power is about celebrating the power of a healthy smile. It's about recognizing people who do good things in their community and remind people that a healthy smile is a very powerful thing, and with all the things going on in the world today, we all need to remember to smile.
When the time came to surprise Dean, dozens of people came together to celebrate what was declared Dean Day.
Dean? Hi! Good morning! Woo! You, Dean, were nominated by Carolyn Andrew, who couldn't be here today but so badly wanted to, and she thinks you work really hard to bring smiles to those in the community.
Carolyn Andrews' son trained with Dean back in 2003. Her son tragically passed away a year later, but Carolyn says Dean remains a part of the family. And while Carolyn couldn't attend, Pacific Mayor Leanne Geyer stepped in to read a few words on Carolyn's behalf.
I remember when my son first met Dean. He said, "Mom, I'm studying with this guy who has the most incredible smile I've ever seen. I think he should be a model." When I personally met Dean at the graduation ceremony in December, I completely agreed. His smile is infectious. Today, Dean is not only a dedicated firefighter, but he went on to become an EMT. He lives to help others no matter what the circumstances present.
I mean, I do this stuff. I love doing it, and I'm surrounded by great people that it means something to them, and that's really what it's about. And it's you hope. I think everyone in this world hopes their life makes a difference.
When Delta Dental read Dean's story, there was no question he's a smile maker.
Everything he did. I mean, from the connections that he made with their family to his volunteer work, his dedication to his community. I mean, what doesn't this guy do? And he's got a great smile, so that helps. He's just been a pillar in his community, and people look up to him, and he deserves to be celebrated. We knew we had to honor you.
To honor Dean, Delta Dental made significant donations to both the Muscular Dystrophy Association and the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, along with providing dog and cat food to the local Humane Society.
I think in this world today, that's, you know, you turn on the news and you go on with your day, and that's really what you hope for, is you can put a smile on your face and hope it affects somebody, and obviously it does, so let that be the message.
If you have a smile maker in your life, nominate him or her today. Just go to SeattleRefined.com for a link to Delta Dental of Washington's Smile Powered nomination form. Seattle Refined will be right back. A shout out to our friends at Kimpton Hotels for making our recent trip to Los Angeles such a pleasure. The Refined team stayed at the newly renovated Hotel Palomar in Beverly Hills, located just minutes from the best places in Beverly Hills and LA. From the nightly wine hour, to the posh pool, to the brand new Double Take restaurant, there's something for every member of the family, including skee ball and shuffleboard. Hey, thanks, Kimpton.
Welcome back to Refined. Technology changes so fast these days that it seems like the second you've caught up, something more advanced comes along. And when it comes to virtual technology, one U.S. company is charging headfirst into the void.
Across an open field is a unique building containing the latest in virtual reality technology. They call it the Void.
You want it to fit nice and secure against your back.
A place where customers suit up in a vest, helmet, and weapon.
This is the only trigger you will need to worry about.
And walk through this door to experience a make-believe world.
Whoa, look at this room. When you go in wearing these goggles and this vest, you don't just sort of see this world around you. You can actually reach out and touch it.
In this virtual reality world, you become a Ghostbuster. Your job is to fight off the evil ghosts that appear all around you and end up face to face with the Marshmallow Giant.
We immerse you in it. So when you walk, you're not tethered to anything. You're completely untethered. You're walking around in what feels like this free kind of open world that you've stepped into.
The Void teamed up with Sony to bring this Ghostbuster experience, a concept that's nearly 3 years in the making. And now the Void is opening in the small Utah county town of Linden.
You know, we're here, so it just made sense to let's open something up.
The high-tech secrets of what happens behind these walls are just that, secrets.
It's all about creating the illusion of reality. Everything's going to grow and expand. The technology's going to get better, and the equipment's going to get smaller and lighter. Sir, you're going to be in this one right here.
The technology is so good, it becomes too real at times.
We've had people leap back and land on the equipment and just, start screaming and flailing around, right?
A reaction the Void is hoping to get as they bring this make-believe world to life.
It's sort of this mix of actual reality and virtual reality that come together to create a very realistic yet impossible experience.
All right, that'll do it for today's show from the Pacific Science Center. I'm Garth Swanson. We'll see you next time right here on Seattle Refined.